At the SolarVilla, we are bringing in the best of the best. Let's start out with Joe Moose. Often seen as one of the most helpful people in the industry, founded the largest solar sales Facebook group in the world, Solar Objections, and heavily involved with the founding of SolarCon and the Solar Academy. Joe will be there for the entire week, laying down value to all the attendees of SolarVilla and to do what he does best: support, motivate, and get you selling more deals. Then let's take a look at Dan Lawson. Dan is an OG of the solar sales, in-home and remote sales game. He was a part of some of the early stage remote solar sales companies, and his nickname in the industry is the Necromancer for his ability to bring back cancellations from the dead back to installs. Dan is a presence to be around. He'll be there for the entire week of the SolarVilla. And lastly, myself. I'll be there heading up the training. I started in solar about a decade ago, and I've been involved in the virtual solar sales process since 2015. I built one of, if not the very first remote solar sales and installation operations national across Australia. I'll be there laying down the law, telling you the structure of a solid remote solar sales process and helping you sell at the event.
Let's go.
How we doing out there, folks? We got JD. JD's got his sunglasses on.
JD didn't get the memo.
What did I say? I told you he's going to be in a car on the way back from closing a 50.
I'm going between job sites.
Always.
I'm going.
I knew it. I called it.
Told these boys. You virtual guys get to. You guys get to sit in a nice AC. I'm running between jobs here.
It is actually. I'm very comfortable. I got my AC going right now. I'm sitting back, enjoying it. Oh, yeah. Virtual is JD, pretty nice. I gotta admit.
Where's the tropical shirt, JD? Come on, we're getting into SolarVilla vibes, my friend.
That's for virtual only, I guess. So.
Oh yeah,
man. From here, it's Friday, and I'm taking my shirt off and jumping in the pool.
Woo!
Classic installer behavior. Absolutely crazy.
You guys look beautiful, though.
ready for the Dominican Republic, baby.
That's it. Well, we've got the crew together. I just realized that, JD, you confirmed coming down after we did that trainer promo. So I didn't do a highlight of, and we got JD De La Rosa, owner of Rufio, installs in Texas, all in lower states. Yeah, we were waiting on JD. We finally got him. I don't know how I was able to get him, but we've locked him in for the SolarVilla, the installer extraordinaire. It's going to be.
I'm there. I'm excited. It'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, everyone watching right now, we're streaming on every platform imaginable. I think Solar Objections, VSC, my Facebook feed, YouTube, VSC, VSC's YouTube. We got where else? Joe's linked. I don't know. We're all platforms right now. So, welcome, crew. Everyone watching, thanks for joining us. We are a few days away from registrations closing at SolarVilla, so we thought we'd do a live across everywhere just to do some intros with the head trainers at SolarVilla, which you got on the call right now. So it's good to have you guys here. I think the best plan of attack here is wherever everyone's watching right now, you guys have comment sections, by the way, and wherever you comment, we'll be able to see those comments, or at least we should. If it asks you to identify yourself and approve, do it, because it allows us to see who actually asks the question in our little chat section. But yeah, I mean, today's just about connecting with everyone, going through we have some crazy careers on this call. So we'll go one by one and just do a little background story. So everyone watching, everyone that's coming to the SolarVilla, or everyone that's thinking about it or already has their applications in and hasn't done their interviews yet, just has a bit of background about the guys that are leading the charge and dropping the value bombs at the event. So I think that's the plan today. But my shirt is sparkly as hell, isn't it? Look at that.
You're sparkling because I got to make sure I announce before we start that all because of Josh King. All this is happening. This is the man who started this last year, had an amazing event and able to do it the second year in a row. And I'm gladly invited him, glad to go be part of it. But Josh King is the one that did this, and he doesn't give himself. He's a super humble guy, but make sure he gets the recognition, baby.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining. We got Dan as well. What's the term? Someone that's done something before, not a graduate, but Dan was at last year's SolarVilla event. That's It's
so good. It's so good that we're coming back to do this again, and I know that you've turned it up.
Alumni.
That's the word. I was trying to think of it.
Yeah.
It's so good that we're coming back. I know that you've turned it up. It's going to be even bigger and better and more exciting. I'm so pumped to be getting over there.
Yeah, man, that was great last year. Tulum was awesome, but I've shown you the villa this year is ridiculous. It's the largest villa in the whole country.
Wait, you gotta make sure you say that like really loud and clear, because it's crazy. The largest villa in the whole place.
Look, we're going to have. I don't want to super highlight that because we're going to learn. We're going to sell remotely, but we did get the largest villa in the entirety of the Dominican Republic, beachside in Las Terrenas, for the SolarVilla event. So we're going hard. The whole point is to show people what's possible, right? If you can close a deal on the beach in the largest villa in Dominican Republic, then why are you doing it anywhere else? You might as well just start traveling the world like a few of us have. So that's the whole idea. Yeah,
love it.
Cool. So look, let's tee things off. So again, if anyone watching, if you guys have any questions for us as we go, I think we're going to get into people's backgrounds and what value they're going to be dropping at the SolarVilla. Just on a high level view. If you guys got any questions for any of us about the event, about our individual experiences or anything, throw it into the comments. I think we should be able to monitor them all and get to them. But let's start it off. Let's start it off big. Let's go Joe Moose. I think everyone watching this must know who Joe is. But Joe's coming down.
Joe.
Super excited to have him. Probably one of the most popular names and faces in the entire bloody industry, especially with the online space. Come on, surely name someone else in terms of online space.
I know him,
bro. When door knockers come to the house and they're in solar and I ask them, do they know who I am? They don't know who I am still. So I have a long way to go before the industry knows who I am.
Chumps. They're just they've just been doing it for a week. If they're serious about solar, they'd know who Joe Moose is.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Tell us about yourself, Joe. For those who don't know, or maybe have heard it before, but why are you in solar? What's going on? What's the background?
Man, it's a long story. I don't know if anybody wants to even hear it, but for me, I've always been an entrepreneur spirit. I've always had that, my mentality as a kid to go out there and just make it happen. I didn't rely on my parents to buy me things. Not because I didn't want it, they didn't give it to me. So I had to figure out other ways of doing things, right? So I was that kid in the neighborhood that would shovel the driveways in the wintertime and go to each house, $20. I'll shovel that real quick, save that money up, and that would be the money I would go and buy deodorant or whatever I needed, because I needed to get those necessities. So it just became part of my life. And I went through high school and then get to college. But I got a good job out of high school working on computers. It wasn't I didn't care about it. I wasn't even really good at it, but it was just a lot of money at a young age. But I got to that point where I was like, all right, this is 6 years or 7 years of doing this. This is, I make good money, but I'm not fulfilled in my career. I moved out to California. This is 2004, visiting my mom. And I said, wow, this is some beautiful weather out here. Changed my whole career, started sales in California. And I always thought of sales that looks cool, working computers. I see the sales guys on the phone, making shit happen, having the nicest cars. I always thought that's pretty cool. But I always thought I can do that. I didn't know, but I thought I could do it. I had a skill set. So I went to California. I started just anything, sales, whatever sales is. I started working car sales. And I didn't know anything about cars, zero. I'm not that car guy at all. But I was salesman of the month. And it wasn't because I knew about cars, because I just had that enthusiasm. I got people wanting quotes. And so I was like, all right, I got a knack for this. Didn't like cars because of this nice and weekends, and it wasn't the best schedule. Make good money. Didn't feel good though, because you make a lot of money off of older people and you're making these huge commissions. It didn't feel good. You weren't really helping people. You're trying to get as much money as this person as possible. Didn't you know what I mean? You can't get passionate about that. And from there, I just went and tried different sales jobs. I did door-to-door from there on. Door-to-door was really my ticket to really understanding sales. And I did ticket sales, business to business, door-to-door. I became top salesperson in each place I went to. I'm not trying to gloat, but that was part of my history. Like I just rose to the top. And it wasn't because I was like good at like smartest person. I just thought of every sales position as a game. Okay, this person is doing this and doing the best. How can I do better than this person? And just thought of different things. Like, for example, going door to door, everybody that I was working with went business to business, just door to door, like next door. I said, fuck that. I went everywhere. I went inside Costco. I went inside the Target. I went Home Depot. I went inside grocery stores. I went to parking lots. I talked to every single person I could talk to. And I was leading that company every single month, right? And that's what I did in every company. Then I went to another sales job based on like family hours. How many sales jobs can you really have a good family style job, right? So insurance is one of those jobs. It's still sales, but you still have those family hours, 9 to 5. So I got into sales, did that for 7 years. Never really passionate about it. It was just more like family hours. It was good for it was a good sales job. Got my wife into insurance. She got her own insurance business. She had that shit running, smoothly. So then from then on in 2016, I was able to like decide what I wanted to do now in my life and my career. I said, okay, what is the future? What is something I really want to be? Like, I have to believe in my product. If I'm selling something, I want to like 100% believe in it. Like, what can I really believe in? This guy came into the insurance office one day complaining about his job. He was telling me about, I try to sell these solar panels and it's amazing, but people aren't buying it. I don't get it. They don't understand why. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's not the product. Maybe it's this guy. So I said, maybe I can figure out this industry. Got into solar with my sales background. I started as a closer. So I was able to go to Solar City. They gave me leads. They had people in Home Depot. I just go and close deals. The problem there was they only did leasing. They sent me to Las Vegas at training. I learned everything about leasing. They didn't have any ownership. So I had to go to the next place that had the products I wanted. So I started working at a small solar company, became salesman of the month. First month I was there, really changed the culture of that company of taking it from like, do I want to work to like everybody's energized, everybody's excited to get to the next day. So from then on, I became Solar Joe because that was my name on every time I left the homeowner. It was like to remember me, Solar Joe, and that name just stuck. Then I always use social media, always used Instagram, always did memes and every since insurance back in the day, and I just always used it. And then after COVID struck, I was on a tour of California. Like every week, I had a restaurant full of homeowners listening to me tell them about solar, and then I would go to each home during the week and close them. It was like a amazing dream job. And then in March 15th, 2020, COVID struck that out. So I went from hero to zero, switched everything. I went into more virtual. I went into training, social media, started the Facebook group. And from then on, took me to here I am now, owner of the Solar Academy, founder of SolarCon, Solar Objections Facebook group, and friend of Josh King. It's pretty cool, right?
Love that title.
I don't know if it's brag worthy, but nice one.
Dan didn't like that one. He was like, I'm out.
He laughed so hard he actually hit leave. For anyone just joining, by the way, let's get Dan back in there. There he is. Dan really didn't like that title. He just. For anyone just joining, guys, we got the primary trainers of the SolarVilla event on one call here just to dive into a bit. You guys just heard Joe's backstory. Those of you, maybe you guys don't know what SolarVilla is, by the way. We host a remote solar sales training event once a year. We do it in a really tropical location just to show people the power of remote solar sales, being able to sell anywhere they want, location independently. This year, we had it at Tulum last year. Dan in the bottom right corner on my screen, at least, was at last year's, myself as well. JD was there as well, actually, virtually. JD zoomed in and did some training and Q&A. Forgot about that. But this year, we got October 2nd in the Dominican Republic, the largest villa in the country, intensive training on the remote solar sales process. Leads included. We're selling at the villa. We're having live sales sessions at the villa. Surrounded by people closing deals left, right, and center. Our goal is for everyone to actually close deals there and then to pay for the ticket. I don't know about any other events like this where you can literally pay for the event at the event with everything that we supply you. So that's what we've got going for those who don't know about the SolarVilla. The reason we're doing this now is because we have 4 days left for registration. Logistically, this is very difficult, getting all everything lined up in order. So we cut things off pretty early. So by Monday, 7 p.m. CST, I believe is the last cutoff. We'll get all the interviews and applications in, then we decide who has the last seat. So for those of you who didn't know, little recap. Let's move on. Let's
one thing you got wrong. It's actually 3 days, 4 days yesterday. So don't give anybody any false hope there.
Oh yeah. All right, we get 3 days. I had a little false hope. Sorry. Monday, 7 p.m. CST is when applications close. Have to be in. The interview doesn't have to be booked for that time, but it has to be booked before that period to be considered eligible to come through. Sweet. Yeah, and then Joe just glances over Solar Academy, Solar Con, Solar Objections as though it's nothing.
You know why? Is because that stuff came from my background, right? I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I didn't have the background before that. And Solar Academy, I'm training, right? I'm teaching things I've known from my background. So that's why I figure focus on the background. But I can get into Solar Academy and Solar Con, and that was some, for me, both of those are really surround myself with people that are smarter than I am, and me being able to hyper focus on what I'm good at. So that could be another conversation.
For those of you who don't know, Solar Objections is the largest solar sales Facebook group in existence. Got 25,000 or whatever people in it now. Solar Academy, one of the largest, if not the largest, solar sales education platforms in existence. And then SolarCon, the greatest solar conference in the world every single year. You guys don't know about that. 3 massive things that Joe has been massively involved in that just skims by.
I'm telling you, surround yourself by people that are smarter than you and focus on what you love to do. Things can really blossom for that. That's all it came from. Just going to networking events, meeting people. Like this retreat, this boot camp in Dominican Republic, it could really start things. I can tell you from experience, this kind of event could change your life, could change your career, could change everything. And it's like this kind of event has happened to me. So that's why I'm like so passionate about events like this and I'm excited about going into it.
Nice one. Well, there's a meaty story right there. Let's jump on. And by the way, guys, again, if you guys have any questions for us, any of specifically our background or just general questions about SolarVilla while we're doing this, feel free to throw it in the chat. We'll be able to see them and pop up. Do we have any? I haven't caught up. We got motivated, humble, and ready to learn from the greatest, from the greats. Congrats. Excited to listen and learn more today. The comments there coming in. Nice. Who else we got on this call? Mr. JD De La Rosa in the car, in between jobs. The guy's always working. Every single Zoom call I've ever done with him since I've known him for the past years is him in his car, going to job sites, going to close a deal, or on the way back from closing a deal or finishing an install. I promise you, I'm not making that up. I maybe I've gotten ever once where he's not on the job closing deals or making sure projects are getting installed. Wild what this guy does. What's going on, JD? Tell us a bit about yourself. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, man.
Especially
I was in the transit for RMA issues, so I'm not going to name the manufacturer, but just so you guys know, your jobs are getting done, your customers are happy, and everything's good to go. So that's what I was in transit in. I'm sorry, I'm not at the background of SolarVilla. Oh, you guys, it's going to be so. Excuse me, can I say badass? It's going to be badass. I'm excited. So yeah, we're just staying busy. I'm down here in this Texas heat, rocking and rolling. But yeah, I'm ready to get out to the villa, man. That's and like Joe said, anything, any opportunity that you can get around, rub shoulders with the greatest. I'm blessed to be on this call with you guys to, pick your brains and really see what's going on, and facilitate anything that's needed on the virtual solar side of things. So I'm excited.
Well, how'd you get into solar? Tell us a bit about the story of JD and solar.
Yeah, so my story, I started right out of high school. I'm gonna kind of let you fill out my whole career because it really leads up to being into solar. I started on the phones at MCI WorldCom here in Austin, Texas. I was dialing for dollars. So It was the 5 cents a minute Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan commercials. If you're old enough, you'd remember that. But that's what I was doing, is hopping on the phone and switching people from 5 cents a minute to unlimited long distance. And I did that all the way through the end of high school into college. And then I was recruited by a security company, First Line Security. So any of the security guys that are out there that know anything about security, that's OG First Line Security. Ended up rocking with them until the wheels fall off or fell off, and then jumped into a couple of other companies until I actually started my own company called Vault Security. Partnered up and really learn the business aspect. That's where I kind of dug in, figured out operations, management, not the sales side, but everything else along with that. We used to do summer boot camps where we take students across the country and open up offices in other states, do like a 14-week boot camp, and really pounded, door to door and sales into these guys. But my job was more of the operations, making sure beds were ready. You name it. Did really well at that. And then I was just, as a lot of the security guys know, I lost my passion. It just wasn't the same it was. And really started seeing solar starting to peek its head, turtle out. And I was like, all right, the solar thing, I gotta figure it out. So I sold my company, good little 7-figure exit, and jumped right into solar. I started with a company called Zoe Solar in Central Texas. A lot of the people in Central Texas will know that name because we got really big really quickly. And partners didn't really see eye to eye. And I just went to my next endeavor, and really I felt consulting was the best thing. So I started helping installers and consulting with installers and helping them with their operations, getting their processes down. A lot of installers, they just want to show up to the job and install, right? But there's a lot more that goes along with, as far as like admin, making sure equipment is scheduled properly. Like you got to have those processes down. Even if you're just an installer, you gotta get that process down to a T. So I helped a lot of installers, built a great installation network across the state of Texas. Worked directly with installers on a day-to-day basis, from warehouse management to inventory, nuts and bolts. You name it. Getting BOS equipment out on site, whatever it was. I was in the trenches with them. From there, Rufio was started around when I actually started Zoe Solar, and it was bookshelved. I didn't really, want to dive in right away because I didn't know solar when I came from security. So I wanted to give myself kind of like a running start. So after consulting and seeing all these installation guys, I was like, well, it would be great to plug them into a network and really start managing them properly and offer their services to a larger audience, where a lot of people that just need, that are sales organizations like yourself, Josh, and Joe, and any of the sales organizations that we work with want a quick, fast, and an installer that knows their territory. So I feel like Texas as a whole, I've really opened up the hood, taken apart the engine, and really put it back together. So that's been my story. Rufio's going on 7 years now, and that's my solar coaster ride.
Love it. And for any Sonivo users out there, or Virtual Solar Club members, you might know Rufio, our exclusive installer for Texas. He also do projects for us, Florida, and a few other southern states. And again, just pointing out, for those of you joined, every single time I jump on a call with JD, he is
you guys there?
Jobs, projects are
my
done.
Screen froze up.
So all good. But yeah, if you guys are out there, you got jobs in right now, or you're pumping through Texas or any southern states, you want a guy like this who's literally always between projects. You'd be worried if the owner of the installation company handling your jobs was sitting in a cushy office. You don't want someone like that. You want him on the road constantly, making sure it's all getting done. Yeah. JD might have some mic issues there, but we can see it loud and clear. Good stuff. Awesome. we got a few comments here, and then I want to get to Dan the man. I believe it was Michael saying, "You all impressed me as a unique, different, authentic characters with extraordinary solar know-how and complementary skills." We got a ton of different skills on this call for sure, 100%. And then someone also asks, and this would be a good lead into, or maybe Dan, you want to take this one after. When it makes sense to answer, a question for Dan. What was your view of the SolarVilla event last year, before and after you attended? Were there things that stood out to you about the event that were different than other events people have put on in the past? So maybe Dan, go into your stuff first. Little solar. I know you got a ton of other stuff going on as well, and then you can jump into that question if you like.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Remind me to answer that question, because I tend to go off track, and we'll circle back around to it because it's a really fantastic question. I'd really love to hear anyone that is on this, whatever platform you're listening on, jump in and comment if you're already attending, if you're already signed up, or if you're on the fence of joining. I'd love to hear who we've got here, and also really great questions like that, because I'd love to serve and be able to answer them. A little backstory. I'd love to talk more about what it is that we're going to do and rock out together with in the week that we have in Dominican Republic together. More so focus on that. Bit of a backstory. I've come from corporate sales, business development management, client relationship management. One of the companies that you might be familiar with is Nearmap. I worked out of the head office in Sydney as international business development manager for New Zealand when we're expanding the region over there. That was a big turning point in my career, actually, right before I found solar, because I had an amazing, corporate job, international travel, had my Audi S5, my high-rise apartment, the unlimited Amex credit card, and everything that it is that I could want, and I felt literally dead inside. I was looking out the window, wishing I was at the beach. I love kite surfing, and my brother, he was in solar at that stage. He was already working with Josh and some other legends from solar back in the Australian days, selling out of there. And he'd be like, 2 o'clock, I'm going down to the beach to go kite surfing, you coming? I'm like, dude, I'm in the office. I'm looking out the window, just watching the wind blow across, going, fuck me, this is not the dream. This is not what I want. I had the money, but had zeros in the bank account, but zeros in my life. Nothing was going on. And we went up the Queensland coast, and my brother, he was all cashed up with solar. He was doing his 10 grand a week. Well, he was doing a bit more than that, because he was in a management position, managing a team. And he said, don't worry, man, I've got you. I had the money, but he was like, come and check out what the solar money can do for you. So we went up the Queensland coast and had a fantastic summer. Coming back into the office, first day back, this was 2019, I walked in, the office smelled like PTSD. If you know what that smells like. And I resigned on the spot. I opened the lid of my car, put everything that I could in it, closed the lid, and drove to Melbourne. That's where my brother Luke, he introduced me to Josh. And I remember you had skepticism, Josh, as far as what Luke shared. And we won't go into the story, but there was skepticism there. So I made it my duty to do fucking good. Luke said, if you can go and close deals with the New Zealand government and go through all the bureaucracy and the levels of...
So the bureaucracy is in different levels. He wants me to finish the story of government.
Hang on. Where did I get to?
He's back.
Did I drop out? Sorry.
You're back. Bureaucracy is a government, I think. You're going next.
The government must have been listening. They cut me off.
Right at that word. It's crazy.
I'm here in Sofia in Bulgaria right now, so I think the internet's good, but who knows? So where was I up to?
Different bureaucracies.
Yeah. So he said, if you can close deals with that, you can sit down in someone's house over a cup of tea, some cookies, and sell something that can really save people's lives financially. That's the level that we're talking at. So I went and did that. I just did what Josh said, and I did what my brother said. These two guys in Australia were crushing it. My brother, he had the reputation of being the number one solar salesperson in Australia. He had this legendary 78% close rate. Josh was right there as well, but he was busy running the show. And I was like, you know what, my brother's a bit younger than me, so we got this competition, this rivalry going on. And I was like, even if I could do half of what he's doing, if I could go and make $5,000 a week, I'd be stoked. That would be awesome. And my first week, I went out and did 11 grand in my first week of sales. I remember a few weeks later, Josh was like, you know what, I can't remember exactly how you put it, Josh, but he was like, I fucking hate how much I pay you. Like, you make it more than anyone here. And I was like, it was ridiculous. So the times were grand. I loved it. Solar changed in Australia through those years. And then, of course, COVID hit, and that's where Josh started taking it online. We parted ways. I started another business. I started a water sports apparel brand, Parallax Apparel. Got into personal development because I realized that I needed a whole lot more than what I was just getting through just doing sales, like things like relationship and health and emotional health, and a lot of fantastic talking points that I refer to now in peak performance coaching, which is where I come in and help out at the SolarVilla these days. But in 2020, when COVID hit, I didn't really like that. It didn't match my values anymore. So everyone was like, okay, lockdown, and I'm a bit of a non-conformist. So I was like, travel time, I'll move to Bali. So moved to Bali in the middle of the pandemic, where Josh and Luke and everyone was hanging out, and that's where virtual solar was kicking off. And it was good, difficult time zone. So I was like, Josh, I'm out for now. I've got my own businesses to attend to at the moment. And then I remember Luke my brother, he wouldn't answer the phone. So Josh, I guess I was the second point of call there. I answered the phone, and he was like, I got this crazy idea. How about and he pitched me this idea of SolarVilla. I was like, mate, sounds like a big call. If you make it happen, I'm in. And I made my promise, and we made it happen, got there. So I guess that leads into the question. What was the question again, Josh, about the SolarVilla?
Been a few, but they mentioned the first one was, what was your experience last year? And how is it different from other events you've been to, I guess?
Well, see, I facilitate at a lot of events, both live trainings. Obviously, lives are so much more fun rather than virtual and over Zoom or whatnot. I think what makes this event, I can't speak to solar events particularly. I'm not in the solar game in the US. I can't say that I've ever been to any other solar event, but specifically in-person events, I love like almost the Bali style retreat that you bring, especially in where it is that we're doing it. What makes these retreats so good is we've got such a close, intimate group of people. Like, I'll stand on stage and do facilitation, and we can bring the audience along and get everyone involved, even with a big room. The thing about these retreats is a small group that we're having, like 8 people, 10 people, 15 people, and we're sitting on that beautiful set of chairs that are behind you there, Josh, or, on the couch, and we're coming together and really bringing this to life, as well as doing the live sales sessions, and everyone's rocking out together. I don't know whether it can be replicated in another way, in such a beautiful location, with everyone on the same mission, the same relentless drive to absolutely crush it in sales and make some money, and not just that, but also do something amazing for others. We're really helping people transform their lives with the money that they're saving, eliminating a huge utility bill, and bringing that back to the center of attention and doing what it is that we do. I think it's just such a special and epic environment to be in. It really is. This is the one event that I probably get most pumped for. After last year, I've been to lots of events. I've been traveling around Europe since February, doing different events, but this is the one that I get it pumped for. It's so good.
Love it. And someone also asked, how many people do we bring, or how many people came last year? And you also mentioned about the intimacy of it. It's really important for me to keep it intimate, right? There's two, if you want to hit an event out of the park, in my eyes, there's 2 ways to do it. SolarVilla, SolarCon. SolarCon, get as many damn people around you and just go crazy. SolarVilla, intimate training event, and keep it nice and small, right? That's really the only two, because if you have an intimate event and get too many people, then it's not going to be that great. If you have like a SolarCon like Joe puts on with not enough people, then it's not going to be a great. So with SolarVilla, it's really important for me to keep it really nice and sweet. Last year, I think we had 9, 8, 9, 10 in total. This year, it's a bigger villa, so we have maximum 14, 15. But I'm not sure if I'm going to max it out yet because I do want to keep it really intimate, you know. And like Dan said, I think that other than the live sales that we actually do, in terms of the training, all four of us are going to be with every single person there 24 hours a day for the whole week, right? There's not much you can do at VSC. We do 1 hour a day, an hour and a half a day, generally 5 days a week for our virtual training. I did the math. If you put in 3.5 or 4 months of standard virtual solar club training, which is every day, an hour and a half, that's the 1 week, the amount of hours that you have with us during the Solar Villa. So it's like super condensed, super structured, super straightforward. It's meant for a platform to just, you know, skyrocket. This year, maybe a bit bigger, but only a few people bigger. Not much bigger. The intimacy is really, really important for me.
I gotta say one thing. As much as I want to, I can't promise 24 hours a day. I may need to rest a little bit alone with my wife, but besides that, full time.
Yes, yeah. Fair enough. Joe needs. We'll give him. What do you guys think? An hour and a half a day, where he's not putting down the bone. Give you an hour and a half.
Thank you, Josh.
There you go.
Adding on to what Josh, just adding on what Josh mentioned there, it's the time in between the sessions I found was a real game changer for so many of the attendees that were coming along. Also, like having one-on-one sessions, you know, would do sessions, and you know, it would have a real impact. So I come from a peak performance coaching perspective, and so I think between the guys that we got here, Joe, JD, Josh, you guys know everything there is to know to mankind under the sun for solar these days. I don't need to add to that. Where I come in is having a look at the other perspectives. You know, we got mindset. Mindset's a bit overrated. Well, not overrated. I think it's important, the psychology of it, the approach of how we really take care of what it is that we're doing when it comes to sales. The name Necromancer comes up because I could bring the cancellations back from the dead. And I get asked this question all the time, how did I do it? The pulling the back from the dead was never done after the sale. The logistics of it was, but it's because it was the relationship building part at the beginning, and very consciously aware of build the relationship at the beginning, just connect them back to that, and then it looked like this magic thing. There's a structure behind it. But what that came, and I'm still connecting with even more so now, is coming back to having an emotional connection. It's all in relationship building. And you know, so you can know everything about solar and know a lot about sales and the structures of sales. One of the things that I'm hugely passionate in is being connected with yourself so that you can be connected with others. If you're carrying a whole lot of like judgment or resentment or pains or hurts or griefs or these sorts of things that come up, it's really hard to connect with people in a really true, intimate and vulnerable way. And this comes through in sales so strongly, the people that have it and have done the work versus the people that haven't. And so that came up in some of the sessions, as Josh referred to it earlier, in the sessions between, you know, the 9-10 guys. I think at least 60%, maybe 70% of them had some tearful moments, both as a group and in private, not because they're weak, quite the opposite. I think it's because they're courageous and they're willing to face that reality and some of the things that came up. And that's what made this event really game changing. And a lot of that happens in between the sessions also. So just echoing what Josh said there, with so much more than what you could go and do and the awesome curriculum that has been built through VSC, coming and doing this live, you can't match it. It's unparalleled.
And that skill of being able to connect with people and building that emotional relationship. So for those of you who don't know, Dan, his nickname was the Necromancer in the Australian solar industry because he was the guy that a cancellation would come in and an average solar sales rep would be like, all right, I don't even want to call them. I guess I'll call them later. Oh, no answer. This guy would get on the call 5, 10, 15 minutes later and the customer is in and, you know, bloody upgraded their system or something. He was known in our company nationwide for being able to do that. And what he just said there, he's already dropped value. Come on, these guys haven't paid for this live, Dad. Come on, we gotta not drop the secret.
There's so much more. There's so much.
Was that it wasn't just the mystical things that he did in that follow-up, why'd you cancel? It was beforehand, the connections that he made there. And that question has also been brought up a lot, especially the past 1 or 2 months in VSC's training of how do you create that connection with customers? How do you break through where 99% of people can't? And so the customers are perceiving that other 99% is just sales guys. Whereas for you, they're seeing something else. The challenge that I always tell people is I'm really damn confident in my sales, because if you put me and the other sales guys that they've spoken to in a room, within 15 minutes, it's going to be pretty damn clear who the most interesting person in that room is. And I'm damn confident it's going to be me. So when you're able to do that and create that connection with customers, how do you do that? That's a skill that Dan certainly has mastered, and is very, very important for the sales aspect as well. A few questions, a few comments here. We got someone says, still putting pieces together to go to the Santo Domingo. JD, you didn't get the Hawaiian shirt memo. I think Ninja said that. Older Joe, you are a rebel and a revolutionary, not a government blood type. And someone said, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. I like that one.
That's a great one.
Beautiful. Awesome. Again, guys, if you're just joining us, you got the crew, the primary trainers of the SolarVilla event we're holding in the Dominican Republic this October. So ask us any questions you got, throw into the comments. I believe we're catching all the comments right now. But let us know if you guys got any questions about us, about the event, going down the beautiful, mastering the art of remote solar sales on a beautiful beach in the Dominican this October. 3 days left to register, solarvilla.com.
Now we got to hear the Josh King story. That sounds like a movie title, right? The Josh King story.
No one wants to hear about that, Joe.
Oh, bro, we got to hear. I got to hear more about Sun Factory, because that shit is legendary status, and I don't know much about it besides the name of it and that you guys, work there or you ran it.
All right. How early should I go back? But I mean, my solar story is very, very closely linked to my Australian story. So I guess, okay, well, first thing, I haven't said this a lot. I don't know if I've ever said this. I want everyone to know that my first ever sales was not virtual. It was door to door, but it was when I was 8 or 9 years old. And me and my dad had to knock on people's doors in the neighborhood to try to convince them to let us do their gardening in exchange for free rent. So I hear people, I did door to door when I started when I was 15. Dude, I was knocking doors for rent when I was 8 years old. It was doors. It wasn't virtual. I hated the phones. I remember hating the phones when I was a kid. Absolutely hating them. But I guess Australia, that's when, Sun Factory and everything started. When I was 19 or 20, I don't know, 10, whatever it was, I got really bored of my, I think I was a server in Canada. And so I got really, really bored. I've always been, had a ton of energy inside me. So I literally spun a globe. I have a globe here. I literally spun a globe and I put my finger on it. I did it 3 times. Russia, somewhere in South America, and Australia. So I chose Australia. Now, back then, Australia wasn't as popular, and so everyone that I knew and myself thought Australia was all just beach towns and crocodiles. We had no idea what was going on. So I found this place my finger landed on called Surfer's Paradise. And I'm like, I thought it's just some beach town. I got there, and it's like wild city in Queensland. I backpacked around, but the first experience I had with hardcore Australian sales was I worked at a call center, and this was like a Wolf of Wall Street style call center. Not great morally. It was hardcore. Won't go into everything, but it was run by they call them bikies in Australia. So gang members. That's who runs all the sketchy scams in Australia. We were selling the investment packages. It wasn't nice. But I was a kid. I had no idea. They're giving me $500 a week. I'll make calls. Give me a few numbers. I'll sell. I was just doing appointment setting at that time, but that's when you really started learning the hardcore sales tactics, right? And really what that ended up being is you sell or get the hell out. So you have to figure out what that looks like. Very, very hardcore environment. Lots of phone sales experience. I had no idea it was going to be useful for the rest of my life. I thought it was just I'm making enough money for beer and to party because I'm a young kid backpacker in Australia. Eventually started traveling again. And then I, maybe 6 months later, wound up in Melbourne, where Dan was talking about, city in the south of Australia. And I went to this interview, and it was an interview for a door knocking gig, right? And so it was a marketing company. In Australia, we call dealers marketing companies. And it was door knocking. They were pitching me out, this door knocking gig. I said, look, I don't really want to do door knocking, but do you guys know about virtual sales, phone sales? And they're like, no. I said, oh, I'll start your virtual operation, your phone sales operation. So long story short, 5 minutes later, they said, look, we do have one thing. There was a group interview. They excused everyone else, and they said, Josh, come here for a sec. We do have one thing. It's brand new. It's not really happened much, but there's a thing called solar. What do you know about solar? I'm like, not much. Do you know anything about it? No, we don't really know anything either. But we do have this list. We have this list of 200 people. This is 5 minutes after my interview, right? This is not the next day. Do you want to just get on and cold call them and see what happens? I'm like, yeah, sure. Keep in mind, I just came from a hardcore call center boiler room. This was so 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, the guy, Chris, Dan knows Chris, got on the whiteboard and he's like, this is solar. We think this is how it works, and go. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me try to do this. I got on this list. 15 minutes after my interview, I started calling people. And within an hour, I had booked 5 appointments. I was saying wacky stuff, right? No, I don't have a roof. Oh, no worries, Mr. Customer. We've seen them installed in trees efficiently. You're good to go. We're making stuff up. We had no idea about solar. But I showed them, like, hey, jump on the phone, call some people, book appointments in on the virtual way. And then they saw that within 20 minutes. They're like, holy shit, what are we doing? So a few months into it, I built a large call center for them. And then we started really getting involved in the virtual aspect. They were doing energy at the time, fundraising, and they had just got this solar contract, right? So the US equivalent is a dealer who gets a contract with an EPC. That's what we were dealing with, the early stages of that model. A few months later, the two owners split. And so I went with one of the owners. I was running operations, the whole virtual aspect of this, solar specifically. The EPC, we call in Australia a solar retailer at the time, knew I was running operations. So he asked me, who are you going with? So then I told him, and then that solar contract came with that new dealer that was created by that owner. Long story short, we started building this thing up nationally. This was eventually Nexus Sales and Marketing. Dan knows Nexus Sales and Marketing. We built that up nationally. We're doing very, very well. I believe we were doing 30 to 40 a week, solar deals a week. But again, I got bored. And I know it's strange to say you're doing 30, 40 a week, making great money, you got bored. That's just my personality. Is really, really bored. I also didn't know what I was sitting on. I still didn't know how big solar was going to be at the time. I moved to Africa. Again, spun the globe, moved to Africa, lived in Uganda in East Africa. And I was like doing some consultation for a business development center. Keep in mind, I'm still in like 21, 22 at this point. I met this guy, and he was running Facebook ads. This is in the middle of Uganda in Kampala, right? He's running Facebook ads selling car parts on Facebook. This is 9 years ago, something. Early days of ads, really early days. And he was running these ads selling car parts, right? So I'm like, what do you mean advertising, digital marketing? He's like, yeah, no, it's really easy. This is how you do it. And he taught me a very small amount, but my mind started going crazy. I'm like, I got really bored with the old model of solar. What if I ran ads for solar? And this kept going through. Eventually moved to Egypt. I studied Arabic for a bit there. I started an e-commerce company. I was selling just like t-shirts and stuff, clothes with Facebook ads, and I was crushing it. This is way before e-com stuff like drop shipping. This is a year or two before. It was the golden age of digital marketing. Eventually, I messaged the dealer maybe like 9-10 months after I got to Africa and to see how they're going. He's like, dude, we're doing amazing. Come down. And I wanted to take this virtual digital marketing online leads thing to solar. So I got there, and the operation was a mess, right? It was a bit of a mess. And the thing was that I tried to sort of convince them that, hey guys, this is the way to go now. We need to start running ads. We need to start doing this for solar. Very difficult to change their mind. They're door knocking through and through. I got there. I took over operations again. We were doing okay, but the tide started shifting for them. I don't think they moved quick enough. And so I pieced it. I then moved to a place called Byron Bay, and an old closer of mine, his name was Elliot Hayes. He had founded a company called Smart Energy Group. Smart Energy is now a global company. They were, I don't know, last time I checked, doing hundreds and hundreds of deals, UK, Australia, New Zealand. They're also in the US for a bit as well. But then they were very small. So him knowing me, the virtual guy, built out their virtual operation in Byron Bay, call center, everything. And that's when we really started going hard, because I'd been testing like ads for solar. This is still 7 years ago or more. And I'd started getting some traction. I went to them and I'm like, let's do this. Let's build it out. And they had slightly different things. They were really great, but they had slightly different takes on things. So I'm like, all right, enough's enough. I'm not building anyone else's operation. So in 2017, I believe it was, around that time, I founded a company called Sun Factory. Sun Factory was the very, very first completely remote solar company. In Australia, we call it a solar retailer, which is sales, marketing, dealer, installation, financing all in one. In the US, it's still like dealer and EPC. But it was the very first company in the entire country. I don't know what other people were doing around 2017, 2018. We were 100% remote. The reason I know it was the first is because we had to get special permits from financing companies to close over the phones and do it virtually and have tech integrations. And all the major finance providers literally said, you're the only person doing this in the entire country. We were running ads, and we had by far, I had a Facebook advertising rep at the time, by far the largest solar advertising budget for the entire country as well. And we were doing killer. We were still doing in-home at the time as well. That's when Dan joined. We were still doing in-home. We had call center, in-office, booking appointments, and doing in-home. But we were absolutely destroying it with digital marketing. And I also started a digital marketing agency for solar a bit before then. But then eventually, like, why are we selling these leads to other people? So we just did it ourselves. That went pretty crazy. We were selling it to every single state. We had a national EPC or installer network. Everything was in-house, and we were subcontracting out installers in like rural areas. So we were completely vertically integrated from beginning to end. And that was wild. It got to the point where we're like, we still have an office. Why do we still have an office? So we got everyone and all the big players, Dan, Luke, a few of the other guys were involved, and we all went to Bali. We got a massive villa. Dan, I don't know if you know Villa Abayan we had in Bali. They tore it down. Someone just told me the other week.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's the villa. To put it in context, that's the villa that Richard Branson stayed in.
Yeah.
Like, that's how epic that villa is. It is Abayan, isn't it? Because there was two that you guys stayed in.
Abayan, yeah. We had a few, but Abayan was the primary one. Then they tore it down. I don't know why. It's beautiful. But anyway.
Luke is really proud. He's got the cleaning staff now from that villa cleaning his house, and he's like, "I got Richard Branson's cleaning staff, and she's awesome, Kadek." But yeah, I just thought I'd add that.
yeah, that's crazy. He still has Kadek. That's fun. Anyway, yeah, so this is before COVID, actually. Before it went crazy, we were in Bali selling virtually into the entirety of Australia. The US, it was on my mind, but I hadn't made the jump yet to actually start putting resources into the market. COVID came. We were in Bali. I think Dan joined a bit later. 90% of everyone left Bali. We were getting notifications from all our governments saying, leave, it's horrible, it's crazy. I was messaging family in Canada saying, this is horrible. Everyone was messaging family in Australia and New Zealand saying, no, it's horrible down here. We're like, let's just chill here and sell virtually into Australia. 80-90% of the solar companies in Australia started having real rough times because many places in Australia could not knock doors. And so they were screwed. And everyone was scrambling to try to figure out the virtual game. I was getting messages left, right, and center. Josh, you know how you guys sell? How do you, like, what do you do about this, about this? And people were asking me, like, they had to figure it out or they are out of business. We had one of, if not the best years during COVID, just chilling in Bali, selling virtually into Australia. However, At the end, I don't know, Dan, if you remember when I started talking about this, when I really started saying, guys, I'm seeing the writing on the wall for the Australian market. I don't know if you remember that. It was at the sort of the end of the year. It was really apparent the Australian market was about to take a hit. Regulation was coming into play. The policies, you had to be assigned to like a government agency to get access to rebates and incentives. Installers were getting very, very picky and getting extremely pricey because they're very difficult to find now. Markets were getting super saturated, not US saturated. We're talking 50, 60% market saturation. Queensland, Brisbane right now is at 70% with a 90% goal by 2030. Like, we're real market saturation. So I knew I couldn't also get back into Australia because I didn't have a permanent residency. So I started looking around. I'm like, okay, what can we do? We can sell anywhere we want. We can sell virtually. And what can we do? I knew about the US for one reason, but I hadn't really taken a proper look at it yet. In 2015, I trained a person, many may know his name in Australia, by the name of Carlos Villanueva, founder of Sales Talk with Solar Pros. He founded the Facebook group, I believe, when he was working for me. Don't quote me on that. Maybe a year or two later. Sorry, Carlos, if I messed that up. Carlos had started getting into the US. So I'm like, okay, Australian, at least I know one Australian in the US, and he knows the market. So that was sort of my way in. And that's also when I was introduced to JD. When I got to the US market, I couldn't believe it, though. 25-year finance terms in Australia, we have 5. The utility bills, it's standard in Australia. If you find someone with a $300 per quarter, meaning $100 per month utility bill, you're like, okay, cool, I can sell this, right? The US right now, if you get someone that has a $200 monthly bill, US monthly bill, you're like, oh, man, we have $500, $600, $700 monthly bills right now. California has $1,000 monthly bills. Anyway, I was flabbergasted at what was going on. So I made a pretty hard pivot. And because of that, I lost a few really good guys. Time zone was really rough. I said, guys, we're moving to the US market. We're stopping everything we're doing in Australia. If we continue off, we might last for another 6 months, 12 months, but we need to make a pivot now into the US. So I made a really, really hard pivot, moved as many people as I could physically or at least virtually to the US. Time zone is rough. So it was very difficult for a lot of people. But that's how we eventually got into the US. I'll cut it short because I've been going for a while. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on in the past 10 years in solar. Saw Joe was doing webinars, started adding value. That eventually turned into people asking me how to sell virtually. Virtual Solar Club was born from that. Then about 2 years ago, we started developing Cinevo, got into inside of the software aspect of solar sales. And I guess here we are. I cut a long story short.
That's a great story, though. I love that story. It's so inspiring. I love the relentless determination to succeed. I remember I was one of the guys that got lost in that transition.
Not a lot of people know this, but Josh helped us.
I think he's got a delay.
Move our office equipment into our first office in San Antonio.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
He was like, I'll help out. Yeah, we got a big old box truck, and Josh is helping. And I was like, dude, that is cool. And we moved all the furniture into the San Antonio office, and he was there to help that out. That was really cool.
I remember that. Yeah. Someone asked, by the way, do any of you sell in the US? Yes, every single person except Dan. I don't think has touched the US market, but yeah, we're all.
So that wasn't, you had to leave, Dan. It wasn't saying you had to go. It was just a question.
Whenever he doesn't hear something he likes, back in. There he is.
There we go. I'm back. Yeah, when you're switching over to the US market, when we're in Bali, I sold into it. And I couldn't believe how ridiculously easy it was to just sell it. Like, I was like, oh, and it's just like what Josh was saying. You guys have got an absolute gold mine there. It was so easy. It just the deal. Everyone is
have a little stint in the US initially. Yeah.
I say I sold, like, I think every qualifying bill, and I can't remember what the qualifying things were, but like every qualifying bill I closed, and Josh was like, I told you it was easy. I was like, this is so easy. But it was at that stage that there was a problem with the finance, and every finance got declined for some technicality. And I was getting up at like 2 a.m. to do these deals while living in Bali. So it was really hard sleeping during the day. And I was like, you know what, until you get this sorted out, I'm out. And then I went and built my own business. So I haven't really come back to it.
All those little learning mistakes. And JD probably remembers that as well, because within our first few months, like we were doing a lot of deals, but we had no idea about credit scores. In Australia, we have the craziest finance companies that just approve everybody. So we had no idea how to filter out credit scores or like asking them up front. Like this wasn't a thing in Australia. But all those little bumps in the road in our first few months in the US. Yeah, I remember those early days. Good. Someone asked if I'm in the DR. I'm in Canada right now. In the past week, I've been in Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, Denver, and Canada.
But
I'm heading down to the DR in a month and a half before the event.
But your background is exactly in Dominican Republic, though.
Mine and Dan's background are literally pictures of the solar villa. These are not Google images. These are the villa that we are going to in the Dominican Republic in October. You guys, when you come, you'll see. Beautiful villa. Joe, I sent you a picture to throw it on there as well.
Okay.
There you go. Yes, sir.
For any of my
Look at
Texas
us.
people, I'm southbound 35 again.
There you go. JD's local true and true. For all the Texans.
It's a country song. No, only Texans will know.
Okay. Well,
You're missing a couple of comments in there, Josh. Want to hit
Did
them? Yeah.
there we go. So do any of you sell in the US? Yeah, I mean, all of us have sold, actually. I forgot Dan had that small little stint at the beginning. Someone says, do it, man. Get it, mate. It's coming for the US. I think probably talking about the regulation. Yeah, for sure it will come to the US. But we have a few years of gold before that hits. Australia generally says between 5 to 10 years ahead of the US. That means we got a few years of absolute gold mine before the industry starts getting a bit tightened up. Am I missing any others there? No. Nice. And remember, guys, if you are just joining again, we're probably going to wrap it up in a bit here, but got the trainers of the upcoming solar event coming up here. We will be in the Dominican Republic with many of you guys. Our one remote solar sales training event we do every single year, October 2nd to the 8th. Check it out, solarvilla.com. We got 3 days left for registration. Applications and interviews don't have to be booked in the 3-day period, but they have to be booked by the 3-day period for you to be eligible to pop by. I have a few spots left. I'm waiting to the last second to decide who's getting them, but book in your interview.
So we got a question from Mr. Greg Keith on YouTube, if you want to go over that one.
Great question. So for those who don't know, we've done a bunch of videos, but I might as well just talk about the Solar Villa and like what's included and what we actually do there. So Greg asks, if you join Solar Villa, do you get access to VSC stuff? Yeah, so Solar Villa is not just a singular event. It's really an event meant for people that want to get absolutely every damn resource we have and then a continual mentorship and support after. So Solar Villa specifically, I'll start with that. It's very, very intensive training. We supply leads. You're selling leads there and then. You're keeping 100% of the commissions. The goal is for you to actually pay for the entire event at the Solar Villa. But you also get, after the event's done, you get lifetime access to Virtual Solar Club. Comes with the largest remote solar sales training library in the world. I think we're at 400 hours of courses at this point. We do 5 live training events every single week. You also get a bunch of practice leads. You get access to Sonivo, which is our software fulfillment, system design, CRM, automations, dialer, lead marketplaces, mentorship programs, all that. You get a year-long subscription when you join Solar Villa after that. And then a ton of ongoing mentorship afterwards. It's really important for me that this is not just an event where you go, boom, okay, you're done. This is just the start. Solar Villa is just the start. You get access to everything we have after, and I would strongly suggest to take advantage of that. And I also want to see everybody that comes to the Solar Villa the next day come to every single live training session that you're now going to get access to that for as long as you need, right? So we throw the kitchen sink at it. It's not just an event, right? We give you everything we've got. Good question.
That was beautiful. You get Sonivo with leads. So like you have everything to start your own business. And so really people don't have to go back home, right? They could just stay there.
I want people to stay. My goal, I say my goal is for people to sell deals. I have a better goal. my goal is for a few people to say, Josh, if I cancel my flight, like, can I just stay here at the villa with you for a few more weeks?
Let's go.
That's the ultimate goal, because literally everything, the platform that we have, you can, like I do, and many people at VSC do, just travel the world. You have one login, and you can sell solar remotely from anywhere you are. Literally everything.
It's what I'm planning to do. I'm gonna be staying there, Josh. If you're sticking around, I'm gonna stay there. I want to wait for the wind and go kite surfing off that beautiful beach right behind you there. That's my goal.
I want to see you go kite surfing, Dan. That looks dope, bro.
Oh man, I can't wait. I spent last what was it, July down in end of June, July down in Morocco, Western Sahara, kite surfing down there. That was awesome. So jumping across to Central America to go and do it there. The independent lifestyle, location independence, to go and just go anywhere, sell what it is that you need to sell, talk with your clients, and then live the life that you want to live. Like, I owe so much of my current success to the opportunities that Josh presented through solar. That's why I'm here. I don't sell solar now, but it is just like this emotional attachment for the opportunities that have come through selling solar. And it's not even solar per se, it's like what Josh says. If it was a potato that would change people's lives, well, we'll just put potatoes in their roofs. Whatever it is. But like, I'm in love with this concept because it is just that good. Yeah, I don't think it can be overstated.
Absolutely. And then someone also asks, they said, I'm in, how do I sign up? SolarVilla.com. Check out the options there. We also have financing as well, people. Just like solar, you don't have to put anything up front. If you do get approved, we don't control the financing, but we have financing. And that's an amazing thing with solar, right? If you get access to everything you need, but you don't have to have this big upfront expenditure, you can easily pay for things over time. So check it out, SolarVilla.com, www.solarvilla.com. Someone also says, I was going to go to Medellin after. Maybe I'll just stay in the DR. Absolutely, stay in the DR. I'm going to be in the DR. I just came back from 3 months in Colombia, Medellin. So I'll be in the Dominican Republic for probably at least a few more weeks. I want to really check it out, see if it's a good spot to stay for a longer period of time.
So
you know what I was just thinking?
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was just thinking. We've got a few people on the call, obviously, wanting to jump in, curious, getting a bit more pumped up. I'd love to see more people take advantage of this. I was thinking, how can I contribute? Like, we're going to go there and rock out. So one thing I've noticed in my career, sales career, but also coaching career now in peak performance coaching, is in the world of high achievers and the top performers, they don't get there by accident. We've heard the stories of Josh, Joe, JD, and probably half the people, most of the people on this call would resonate and see that people don't get there by accident. They're driven, they're ambitious, they got the relentless pursuit of excellence. And within that, I'm sure, as you'd agree, it comes with its own unique set of challenges, right? As we're going out, and it could be the micro challenges on the call or face-to-face or whatever, and then the macro challenges of how life shows up and presents all sorts of shit that gets in the way. And it can be intense. That pursuit of success, you can and usually does come at the expense of other areas in life. So that's where my speciality is. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm going to offer at the SolarVilla. My clients call me their secret weapon. So the high achievers, high performers, the seven-figure business owners that I'm coaching, they're like, you're my secret weapon that help me guide and navigate the peaks and valleys of my journey. So I was just thinking, for anyone that wants to sign up here, I wasn't planning to do this, but it was just somebody who's like, I'm in. Anyone else that says they're in, they're booking in, I've got some really great programs that I'd love to add. I'll just throw them in for free. One's on mindset for success. So how to build the mindset, 6-part series. And also I'll do another one from going from a high achiever and cultivating the mindset for becoming a high performer. There's a nuance between them. If you don't know the nuance, this is the program for you, and that's a 6-part series as well. So anyone that signs up, Josh will let me know. I'll throw it in.
I didn't know he was going to throw in his best bloody training in there as well. All right.
Let's do it, man. I just love it. I want to see everyone that deserves, everyone wants to be there and that deserves to be there, that's going to show up and bring this kind of energy. I just want to hang out with the best. So bring it. Let's do it.
Nice one. All right. Well, you get 2 for the price of 1 then. Sounds good. Sounds fun.
Yo, that's awesome. And when we're gonna be closing deals over there, getting leads. It's gonna be definitely work hours, but we're gonna have some fun too, right? Like, yes, we're gonna be there. We're gonna make sure to have some fun. So why don't we go over some of the entertaining stuff and some of the fun stuff we're gonna do over there?
Well,
Yeah, and Josh, I definitely want to do an incentive program for top sales out there. So I want to contribute for these guys that are on the fence to show them out there. So let's start with an iPad for the top seller. That's minimum.
Baby, let's go. Let's go. All right. So
Let's have some fun.
Let's go. Most deals at the SolarVilla, you get an iPad as well. I guess if it's a tie, we'll go most deals and then the most bills. So whoever's get the most deals and the most bills if there's a tie for first. Love it.
And I'll do a karaoke contest. Okay, so that's I'll run that one.
You're offering a karaoke contest, or the karaoke? What does the winner of the karaoke contest get?
We'll get a nice prize. We'll figure it out.
Nice one. Goes Joe will buy you a beer at the SolarVilla, even though beer and everything is included.
Beer on me, baby. No, we'll make
Joe
a nice
tries
prize.
to sell anyone beer at the SolarVilla, just know it's all inclusive. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah. What was someone mentioned something? Oh, someone says, awesome. Thanks, Dan. Greg says, someone says, bring on the entertainment. Woo, let's make it happen. Nice.
I'm gonna end the call if you're gonna exit, because you guys are on the villa. You got the nice water here. I'm gonna jump in, trip down.
All right.
Jump in real quick.
Have some fun. What you got?
There you go. All right, JD. Have a good one. Peace. So in terms of fun, we're going to a beautiful tropical place, and so I think it wouldn't be fun if we went to this awesome place. Oh, JD signing out. All right, JD, have a good one.
He jumped in the pool, I think.
I think he did. Wait, did he? Let's see.
He did. He jumped in the pool.
Yeah.
He did.
Hey,
See
there
ya.
it is. Okay, see you, man.
That's great.
Nice one. Beauty. All right. So the fun. So the first important thing is that we're not doing it at the beginning. We're doing it at the end. We are earning the fun. We're earning the good times, but we got to have a little fun. Me and Dan have dove together quite a bit. Bali. I don't know about Australia. We did it in Tulum. So I love diving. We got the symbol for diving tattooed on my arm. Absolutely love it. Not just because it's fun, because it's an amazing form of, I don't know if I want to say meditation, but it centers you, man. I see a very interesting correlation between getting good at diving, something like diving, and sales. In sales, you constantly have this data stream getting thrown at you, customers saying things, stress, money, commissions, numbers, system designs, appointments, cold calling, and you need to be able to very calmly disseminate all that information, all that data coming to you, and do what you need to do with it. Diving is very similar. When you first dive, if anyone that's never dove before, you might think it's like scary and it's like a new experience. But when you get under the water, you might have crazy waves, even storms and thunder and rain. You get under the water and you calm yourself down. It is one of the most amazing, relaxing experiences you'll ever have. And I like it very similar to sales. When you master the art of sales, especially remote, with, okay, now you don't have them in front of you. You have to get all this data, the audio, the tonality. When you're able to speak that language and master that language, you just feel a peace come over you. And you see this data come in like in the Matrix. Oh, Dan, piece it again. It's like the Matrix when Neo first opens his eyes and he sees all that data coming from Agent Smith. And he's like, oh, I understand now. It's a very similar feeling for me when I go diving. We go diving at every single SolarVilla event. Not mandatory, but strongly suggested. That's going to be on the last day, on day 6 or 7, when we've gone through all of our training and whatnot. It's going to be a good time. And then we also, if people want to go, we also have a catamaran waiting for us to take us a little trip, little sunbathe, get some drinks on the catamaran, sail around the beautiful, beautiful blue waters of the Dominican Republic. We got drinks. I got a few things in store. I like some surprises, so I'm not going to say what the surprises are. But we also have a little fun while we're at the villa after we put the work in during the day.
Josh, did you manage to get a jet ski this year? Oh, okay.
Come on, Dad. Come on, man. What are you
Said,
I don't know. I thought maybe you forgot.
hint,
Don't worry
hint,
about it.
hint, hint.
It's all
Okay,
in the
no more
works.
questions. Oh man, I'm
Yeah,
so pumped for this year.
no comment. No comment.
I think we're like 49 days away and 6 hours and 37 minutes and 6 seconds away. So not exactly or anything, but something like that.
There you go. That is it. 49 days away. Counting down the days. Make it happen. What else we got? If anyone else has any questions before we wrap up, throw them into the comments now. This is your last chance. We will not be doing another live before the countdown ends. We got 3 days. So Monday, 7 p.m. CST is when applications completely close. You don't have to have your interview before Monday, but you do have to have it booked in by Monday or the weekend or the following week. I'll explain the interview process as well. Obviously, a ton of people want to go to this thing. This is a small event, 10, maybe maximum 15 total. If we're spending a week, 24 hours, Joe gets 2 hours, so 22 hours with Joe every single day with you guys. We need to make the environment as efficient and productive as possible. I get some guys that book in interviews and they'll say, yeah, look, man, I already sort of know, I've already done it before, but I was going to go on vacation, so I thought I'd just go to this instead. Okay, cool. But you're there for training. Yeah, I just really like the Dominican Republic. What am I supposed to do with that? So that's why we do the interview process, because I want people there that want to learn, that want to sell, that want to figure out the remote sales game. Sure, you got a vacation coming up, or you want to do a vacation this year, swap it out with SolarVilla, but not if you're just going to go and sunbathe and drink beers. That's not what we're doing here. The number one goal is to sell solar virtually and learn remote solar sales. Secondly, we'll have a bit of fun. We'll get into the sun, but we can't bypass that first one. That's why we have the interview process. So I'm personally doing interviews with every single person that applies, and the final decisions are made on Monday.
Awesome.
There is a question in the comments from Facebook user. He wants to know, do you arrange the transport from Santo Domingo Airport?
Oh, great question. Yeah, I missed that one. Yeah, so absolutely everything. The second you get to Dominican Republic is covered. Jump on your flight, you grab your flight, you get to Dominican Republic, we handle everything. We logistically plan out when you do register admin about next week or the week after, we'll be planning arrival times, and a shuttle will be waiting for you there. They'll be taking you to and from SolarVilla. When you do leave, we'll also be arranging a shuttle or a nice air-conditioned car or a van to bring you back to the airport for when you need to head out. Food is included, drinks are included, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, obviously all the training, every single lead. We are providing inbound leads, exclusive leads. We're also going to be covering age leads and cold leads. The whole gamut is there. The software, the tech, the dialers, absolutely everything from the second you land in Dominican Republic is completely covered. Okay. Great question, though. And Brandon Lawson. Daniel Lawson, great last name, bro.
Yes, I saw. Who what was his name? The other Mr. Lawson. He's coming. He's booked. Joining.
Brandon Lawson. Yes, sir. We're gonna have 2 Lawsons. Oh man, I don't know. I can handle 2 Lawsons.
You've done that before with Luke, so it's normal for you.
Oh, but it was rough. You get 2 Lawsons in the same room. There's sales. There's a ton of sales. But man, you got to put up with 2 Lawsons. So it's
That was the easier one to put up with, though, right? Okay. Yeah.
We got in the comments.
Might be watching. Luke might be watching.
Anchored Solar said, "I'm booked. Let's go." We have a bell, something we can ring for everybody who's booking up right now. Woo!
Ding, 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 ding. Here's a question for you all that are watching. I'd love to hear, and if you comment here, or maybe I'll come back into the community. Obviously, you come and you get the answers to your biggest challenge that's holding you back in solar right now that's non-logistical. All the logistics of selling solar is all going to be taken care of by the experts that are here. For myself, I'd love to be able to help you with the non-solar logistical challenges that are holding you back from creating an amazing life that you want to live and leveraging solar to be able to create that life that you want to live. So it could be outside of solar, whether it's the approach, something's holding you back. Things like, people get procrastination or overwhelm, not knowing how to navigate uncertainty and making decisions. It could be things to do with relationships or stress or time, challenges with time management. It could be with emotions, so any kind of discomfort that's coming up. All of these kind of topics, this is what I'm expert in, and I'd love to be able to help you all with that. So comment here in the chat while we're still here. Love to start getting an idea. I haven't got any planned curriculum or what we're going to cover yet. I trust we'll do that with those of you that do book and that you confirmed. I'd love to curate it in the way that's going to best serve all of you. So start thinking about that so we can dive into it.
And to maybe translate that as well for some others, we know in solar sales, it's not just about strategy. If you guys are out there cold calling, door knocking, or even inbound leads, there's a ton of other non-strategy stuff going on, right? Your mental state, the focus, what should you be doing? How do you, what Dan's really good at, which I've struggled with for sure in the past, is identifying where you want to be and then creating that roadmap. And that is a skill in and of itself. It's one of many things Dan does. So whether it's now or shoot into the comments or shoot Dan a DM or throw it into the group, identify what are those things. Cool. I'm coming to learn strategy. I'm coming to learn software, whatever it is. What are those other things that are holding you back? Where do you want to be? Do you know how to get there? Do you know what that roadmap looks like? And do you know how to systematically create it? Because Dan will be the man to help out with all that stuff for the entire event.
Absolutely. And I'll make myself available for one-on-one sessions also. I did that last year. We didn't really plan that or schedule it in. I just loved hanging out with those who were there and ready to rock out. So I will be available for that, which is hugely valuable in itself. The rates that my clients, I charge my clients for that. I would hate for them to find out that you guys are getting it as an inclusion, because they'll be like, holy shit, I want to be signing up to SolarVilla just to get more of that.
And there's a question, how many of the students last year made sales? I believe there were 2 or 3 at the event, and how many were after? Because obviously when you're scheduling appointments, I can't remember. There's a handful after the event that when it ended, but then the next day they logged into their Snevo account and closed them up. The issue that I found last year, I didn't push the live sales sessions hard enough, and I made it optional. Technically, it still is optional. Dan, I don't know if you remember the first 20 minutes, because we framed it last year as, if you guys want to, but if not, just chill and take it easy. The first 20, 30 minutes, everyone is on the phone. But then after 20, 30 minutes, people are like, oh, I want to get a beer. So this year, I've really tried to been telling people, hey, I didn't generate these leads for nothing. Stay on the dialer. Every single day we'll have between 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 hours of live sales sessions. I would strongly suggest, I can't force your hand, but man, don't just go and use it as a break time. Don't say, oh, we've had 2 hours of training. I want to get on the leads and book the appointments in, man. There was like a handful of people that did not stop, but then a few people that used it as a break spot. Don't do that. Get onto the leads and make it happen. I don't care. Maybe last year they're company owners, so they're like, oh, yeah, well, I got enough leads in the pipeline. I don't need to. I'll do this. I'll just take the training. Get on the leads. I'm not generating these leads so you guys can just take a break. Use that time to close deals. There were so many leads that weren't touched last year. I don't know why. It was I looked in the dialer and there's like 20-30% of the inbounds that have been called at all. So get on it. Close deals. Let's make it happen.
You've really noticed the difference of the guys that did do it as well, that showed up. I know there's a few that stand out in my mind that I'm like, I just loved their determination, and they just showed up, they hit it hard, and they got the results. They're the ones that closed the deals. So actually, I don't think this
on the phone, they weren't as engaged either. But the guys who were just hitting it hardcore in the live sales sessions, they were the ones that were absolutely crushing it during the event and after.
Yeah,
big correlation. Sure.
One of the quotes or the phrases that I love to live by is, people come along to these kind of events or similar in the way that they approach life in balance. And I don't think balance exists. I think balance is bullshit, because balance, it almost presupposes I'm going half in here and half in here. It's not how life works. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I say, bring it. Bring it all, bring 100% to what it is that we're showing up to. That's how we achieve it all in life. It's about refusing to settle for mediocrity in any area that it is that we're showing up to, but especially in opportunities like this. Thriving in that face of uncertainty and maintaining the resilience amidst the uncertainty that's going to come out of an event like this, so we can really face the challenge and learn and grow through it. It's pushing the boundaries, what's truly possible, because there is so much possibility, both from a professional perspective of being a salesperson, but a personal perspective. And I know this is what I really respect in Josh so much, is really pushing what's personally possible in our lives and for that lifestyle that we can create.
I'm signing up too, bro. Sorry. I know that, maybe you're planning on it, but give me that cheat. I'm signing up myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice one. Got comments here. I'm learning the track words and tried to learn sales in general. I retired Navy and switched to virtual to spend more time with the family, and have had fun so far on the phones. Love it. The authenticity, the truth, telling from each individual holds a mirror of your personal reality that only you can provide. That sounds like a Dan quote. Dan, did you throw that out there?
No. Sounded good though.
Awesome. All right, guys. If anyone has any last questions, throw them into the chat now. You guys got anything else we want to cover before we end up today?
No, I don't think I got anything else.
I think we're good. I'm excited.
Actually, I've got one more thing that I could throw in. I'm getting a really bad echo from one of you. Okay.
I have cancellations on. I don't know about.
Whatever it is, I can get through. I just created a really cool profiling tool for your dominant power archetype as an entrepreneur. So how it is that you approach challenges. I think, I don't know whether I sent this across to you previously, Josh. You're really busy, but I'm going to drop it in the chat here. I just launched it yesterday or the day before, and it's a really great way to get insights on what your strengths are, and then to focus on what areas to really focus on and hone to take your sales ability, your entrepreneurial abilities, whatever your gaps are, to accelerate to the next level. So I'll drop that in the chat. It's a free little tool to jump into, and it's super valuable.
Nice one. Free value bombs already. Love it.
Make it happen.
People, I believe we're going to wrap up. I'll see everyone out there in the Dominican Republic in October.
3 more days. Application closes. Get on it. SolarVilla.com.
Yep, absolutely. SolarVilla.com to shoot through your application and book that interview in. I'll be taking interviews up until Monday, 7 p.m. CST. After that, we always get people that ask after the countdown ends, but it doesn't work like that. We have to solidify logistics. We can't just throw things nilly-willy. So we will be making final decisions probably Tuesday after all the interviews are done. www.solarvilla.com. Bunch of details on there if you guys haven't checked it out. Schedule, training schedule, a bunch of other stuff that we've got going on, profiles of everyone you've heard of today. And applications are on there. That's about it. Last time you guys will see us until applications are done. Thanks everyone for joining. Super, super excited to see you guys in the Dominican Republic in October. It's going to be an absolute blast. I remember last year's event, and I'm like, damn, should we start doing these multiple times per year? But I'm like, no, we got to make it special. Once a year, that's it. And this is our event this year. It's going to be fun. Oh,
Dan is already on his way.
Love it.
Interview booked tomorrow. Let's go.
He's left. Dan, it's not yet. We still got a bit of time. You don't have to go books yet. October 2nd, Dan. He's trying. He's going, guys. I got to get on my plane right now. We still got a month and a half to go to that.
I'm pumped, man. Just let me at it. Let's go.
Sweet. Good stuff. All right, guys. I will catch you later. If you guys got any questions, shoot through a DM. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Joe and JD, who jumped in the pool, for joining us. I'll catch you guys later. Everyone have a fantastic Friday evening, Thursday or Saturday morning, depending on where you're watching around the world. And we'll see you guys in SolarVilla.
Peace.
Awesome. Catch you guys later. Have a good one. Peace.
Secure the largest private beachside villa in the entire country for the SolarVilla. Okay then, let's jump into it. This time in the absolutely stunning Dominican Republic. A lot more things this year from last year. Every single year we just do crazier and crazier stuff. I can't wait someone just locked down a 10 kilowatt. Phones only, right by the poolside, putting that down and then jumping in the pool and having a beer. We can sit on a beach, but let's sell solar virtually at the same time. You are going to come away with a extremely clear virtual solar sales structure and process. That's really what the SolarVilla is all about. That's why it is a boot camp, not just a vacation, not just a retreat. I want to see people closing deals virtually at the SolarVilla. We're here to change our lives for this week. We're here to put ourselves on a new trajectory. And that's the type of people I want there.